Coming up on SOS.
Come one with the 15, George.
Oh, secret tunnel!
It's a very hot topic, the old catch can is.
You're gonna whip me up, cordial.
Lift you up a little bit.
Yeah. That looks good, bro. No.
Am I interrupting, Dylan?
No, not at all, George. Not at all, you see. What's that? You are wet, aren't you? He's wet. This is not wet. Just got rhythm in the feet to that.
Dancing, you dance.
No, just wiping my feet on the rhythm rug.
So, where do we start? It doesn't start. Doesn't even have wiring, George. So, the VL. Yes, I'm very flustered with this. I've been from there to this to that, and nothing's finished. Finished off the overflow for the radiator. It's small in factory. No, it'd be about, what do you reckon? It'd be about equivalent? No, a bit less volume. The factory f***ing overflow. We've gone and relocated it. I chose to. Original one normally sits over there in the tower. First of all, it didn't come here initially. Second of all, just looks sloppy, so we didn't do it. We made another little sneaky dog over here, which is quite fitting for it all, George, which you'll have to show everyone watching how good it fits. Wastegate turned up in the mail today, so been making a screamer pipe for the wastegate, 50mm wastegate, which you see behind me. Doesn't look like much, but there's a little bit to it. We're not out of room, it's just tight to whip it back that way. So that's what that does. Whips it back. Do we really want to get into the catch can? It's a very hot topic, the old catch can is. There's plenty of ways to do catch cans, everyone knows. Doing it the best way, I'm unsure which way that is. So we've just gone ahead, and what I did, right, George and everyone watching, is I turned this piece of cardboard, it's got my tracking number on the back from parcel, I turned that into that. Right there I did. Don't know how, but we managed to do that. So that just needs fittings welded on, which we'll have a T-box with the boys later on, work out where we need them to go. And it's a great way to stay in shape, George. We've got my new race bike in, so we've just got to do a quick oil change. She's ready for the Aussie titles. I've stepped it up this year. I've moved up into a bigger class. So we had road tyres on it for a while, and we got pulled up by the authorities. Didn't get in too much trouble. All we had to do was add a badge on the back, like a plate, like a VIN plate, pretty much saying it's only for off-road use. So I've gone and done that. Shortened up the rear mudguard because I'm a bit of a freestyler. The rust on the bars is more a patina thing. I sort of sanded the clear off to let it go to that. And then I pretty much removed the other brake handle completely because, in all honesty, George, who wants to pull it up? Just chuck some f***ing X85 in it, mate. She'd go hard. It's an update on my race bike. Small wheel gang. Once I broke my leg down at Newcastle riding that thing in the titles, it sort of pulled my career up there. And yeah, that's about it. That's an update. Coming? No. Put your hand out to go to dancing and just like, how do I dance in the 70s and 80s?
I would dance from the hips down.
Youngie. On the wind today, bub. So our boss behind me, George, he has this issue of losing. So what our other boss has done, right, is he's told us we need to do things to encourage him, think he's winning all the time. So at least one of us a week has to let him win.
For his self-esteem.
Yeah, pretty well. Like it's. Otherwise, you wouldn't know where he'd go. He's unstable as it is, let alone losing.
Come one with the 15, George.
Not really working, is it?
What's the problem? Got too many wires in it.
That'll do it. Yeah, that's wrong. Alright, get going. See you later. Hello. You want to get in here with me? You want to come in? We can have a chat while I work, so we're more efficient. Yeah, so I'm just making sure there's plenty of things in here. Just buttoning things up. Can you shut up? I think he's going to shut up. This morning I got this window here, had the door cut back off and got this all adjusted so that the window goes up the right height at the right angle and stops at the right point and doesn't go too high, so that when you close the door it hits the roof and all that sort of stuff. Being it's a frameless window, there's a bit of mucking around getting all the adjustments right so that the window goes up properly. So I've got that side done now. Juddy, I haven't done the driver's side. Juddy's in the process of it now by the looks of it. Juddy's been over there relocating the fuse box that we put up under the dash last time, just before Matsuri when we were putting this together. We stuck it up there. Now we are putting it, or he has put it in a more permanent spot. I think it's actually back in the factory spot. This car has a full weld-in roll cage. So I believe that the bar that goes down the front through the dash there was sort of in the way of the fuse box going exactly where it was meant to be. While Juddy was over there doing that, I got this window sorted out. He's about to sort that window out. I think he's just waiting for me because I'm working on mounting up this fuse box over here. So the problem with this fuse box is this one's actually the engine bay fuse box, or would be the engine bay fuse box, and it's not in the engine bay, it's in the car, so it hasn't really got a home. So I've made this little box with this little tab, and the fuse box is going to sort of press fit into here because it's a factory fuse box that we've kind of, the box that it actually all fit into and clicked into with all its intricate little plastic tabs, and that big box wouldn't fit up under here anyway. So we've basically just got the innards, as you can see here. And the problem is that there are three individual rectangular pieces, and none of them actually clip together to each other. So yeah, you can't, and the other problem is that there's not really much excess plastic to screw them together or anything like that. So pretty much I've bundled it as tightly and nicely as I can get it, and then we're going to basically press fit it in with the foam around the outside so that it just squishes in there nicely and it sits and won't have any vibrations or anything stupid like that. So, and it is going to go up here under this bad boy. So I've taken the airbags out for obvious reasons, and if it's not obvious to you, maybe go back and watch the last video. This is a 1,000 horsepower billet block drift car, so we don't need airbags where we're going, and we don't want accidental airbags going off. So I've removed the actual airbag module, and then this piece just clips back in. So I'm going to have this fuse box sitting face up just under here in my little box that I've made, which you'll see shortly, and then that's just going to go back over the top of it. So if for whatever reason, which I highly doubt there will be a reason, but if for whatever reason he needs to get to this little fuse box, he can just pop this off and it'll be there, nice and secure and safe and away from all the That's pretty much it. That's where we're up to. Buttoning things up. Still buttoning things up. There's a lot of buttons. And yeah, that's it. That's it.
Come at you like a sea serpent, George. Stand still the island. Safety, kids. We've had a lot of shots in my eyes. Drawn. That was really good.
What are you doing, Daniel?
Oh, just tanning. It's the first day of summer. Getting some rays, George, man. Wait, these are the shitty ones, I think. They don't stick. Bit of newspaper, but apparently there's no news happening today, so it's got nothing written on it. So it wasn't wrong, George. It's a greedy intercooler. That was, I was trying to be better. Oh, they didn't even write on it. Oh. Get a shot of that.
Spicy.
Is it?
A little bit.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh!
Bit of fat come out there, bro.
So this is SRS, this is our workbench and it's covered in
So we want to talk about the S15, eh? Is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah, well we're not going to talk about much else, are we?
Yeah, we got the S15.
As you can see above us.
2JZ S15.
Billet blocked.
In the last few minutes of the episode. Pretty much what we've been doing, I don't even know.
You know where we're at.
We took the pan off. We took the pan off this thing because we had issues with oil pressure tapering off, not correlated to oil temperature. So oil pressure wasn't tapering with oil temperature in the way that we would expect it to. So we started up, we got good cold oil pressure, or good enough cold oil pressure, to where you could, like you would expect to just be able to shim the pump up and you'd have good cold oil pressure, you'd like no concerns, like 90 PSI basically. If that was showing 110-ish cold oil pressure, like on a cold morning, we'd be no problems at all. So there's no real issues with
the
that.
guts and let it go.
The issue that sort of arises is after you can pretty much watch the oil pressure drop without the oil temperature rising much at all.
Ever so slowly though, you can count it down.
Yeah, there's a few different reasons that would do it. Just working through them, there's a couple of things that can do it. Windage, airlocks, like an internal bleed of oil pressure, basically. So pressure is created by a restriction. So flow meets a restriction, creates pressure. So if we don't have a restriction in the block, the oil pressure can be lower. We're not worried about like bearing clearances or anything like that, or anything hurt in the engine, because everything looks perfect. Oil filter's clean as, there's nothing like that. Yeah, pretty much just a lot of testing that we're trying to do. A lot of sort of things pointed towards windage in the sump, because the dry sump pan that we were using didn't actually have a form of windage tray. So a windage tray sits between the crank and the oil level usually. Because it's a dry sump, our windage tray would sit between the crank and the scavenge ports. So the pan that we had on there didn't have one of those, and so we were sort of confident-ish that was going to solve our problem. We got a pan on here now by Titan from High Octane. We got that, modified it to fit in the S chassis, and unfortunately we've got exactly the same issue. It's one of those things where obviously we'd have liked to not have to do that to figure it out, but it's also one of those things that nobody could tell us definitely yes or no, so we just had to do it ourselves basically. From here, there's a couple things we want to try next. We've got some bulkheads through the floor that we're going to potentially try and bypass, just to see if the sort of like the sudden change in direction of the oil flow path is creating an airlock in there, which is then cavitating the pump. So we're probably going to have a look at that. Pretty much just keep going from there. We are going to keep doing a couple more tests. With a couple tests we can try and do to see smoke test and stuff like that. We're going to sort of probably revisit that. Pretty much do anything we can until it's a final condemnation of we have to pull the block out and strip it, pretty much. So that's what.
What did you lose, Judd, man? What did you drop?
A nut. So yeah, that's it. That's what we're doing. Scratching our heads.
Yeah. Well, he's still scratching his head. I've continued on with the exhaust, the 4-inch stainless exhaust for the billet. So we have gone and add AES valve, it is? Yeah, an AES valve, because Jared wants to drive it on the street. That's what he wanted, so we've gone and added an AES valve up in here, wire piped it, and then we're just continuing down here. We had to make a bit of a stop on it yesterday just because we've been up and down trying to What would you call it? Trouble poot. So we've trouble pooted that. So yeah, we've got the rear end somewhat welded out because we've got the drop box for the radiant fuel tank back here. It's quite a tight radius to get back to through here where the, I guess you'd say, normal exhaust would run on an S chassis. So a couple of pie cuts got us around that corner. We're down to about here now, just got to do the switch across where the tail shaft is and link it all up, and that's about what we're going to do, George, and that's enough for you to finish the video with, I hope.
Nah. Goodbye.
Bye.
Spirits are high.
Yeah.
Morale is low.
Yeah, look. So, yeah, stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you, before it's too late, get on the giveaway.
Yeah, what's left? It's the 6th today. So there's what, 14 days? 4 days? 14, 10 days? A week and 2 days?
A week and 2 days.
9
week and 2
days.
days to get into
9?
your, yes, I believe so.
9 days.
Wait.
Bit over a week left to enter the giveaway. It's being drawn on the 15th. So make sure you head over to the Facebook page. It's free to enter. All you got to do is just follow us on everything. Drop a comment on one of them and then send through proof that you've subscribed, and that's it. It's free, costs you nothing, and you can win $5 or a Nexus. So
up to you.
Get on it.
Hooroo.
Say bye.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Next time.
Where does he get off? We need a production line. You look then.
Oh, I can't look at I'm pouring.
Stop pouring and have a look. What's wrong?
And again.
Wow.
You.
Don't!
Haha, blew in your face.
Okay.
Daniel, read the sign.
Yeah, read the sign.
Look, they
I can't read.